Welcome back. This is lesson 4 of Module 12. In the previous lessons, we built an itinerary with logic. We identified where to go, we considered risk, we matched the route to the strengths of the auditors, and we made sure the flow of evidence made sense. Now, we take the next step. An itinerary is not yet a schedule. It tells us the route, but not the rhythm. It tells us the logic, but not yet how the audit will actually unfold across 2 days. Now, we will have real time limits, real handoffs, and real moments to stop, compare evidence, and adjust. That is what this lesson is about. So, in this lesson, we will translate the itinerary into a practical audit schedule. We will see how to protect the essential meetings, how to allocate time with purpose, how to make information flow between auditors, and how to build a schedule that supports a connected and reliable audit trail. Because a good audit schedule is not just a calendar. It's a structure for thinking, for coordination, and for reaching conclusions you can trust. Now, we are turning an itinerary into a real audit schedule. So the first step is not choosing where to go. The first step is protecting the fixed blocks that give the audit structure. So I begin by locking in the opening meeting, the lunch, the day 1 status meeting, the day 2 team meeting, the preparation for the closing meeting, and the closing meeting itself. Why do I do that first? Well, because these blocks are not administrative leftovers. They are part of the audit method. They create space to align the team, compare evidence, adjust the route, and prepare conclusions that are supported by facts instead of memory. A good audit schedule is not just a list of visits, it's a time architecture. It must protect the moments where the audit team stops, thinks, and reconnects the evidence trail. If we don't reserve these moments up front, fieldwork will expand and consume them. And then what happens is that the audit becomes busy, yes, but not necessarily reliable. Now, once the fixed blocks are protected, we can place the first morning of fieldwork. So this part of the plan looks fairly stable. So the lead auditor starts in customer support, while auditor B starts in logistics. That makes sense. So customer support gives us the downstream voice of the system, so very early. So complaints, product issues, delivery frustrations, and the way failures are experienced by the customer. Logistics gives us an early look at material flow, storage conditions, traceability, and operational discipline. Then, both routes converge at final inspection and at the lab. That convergence is important. By that point, we are no longer asking generic questions. We are testing inspection and laboratory controls against what we already learned from the customer side and from material flow. So this is exactly what a meaningful audit trail looks like. So information gathered in one place is carried forward and used to sharpen the next line of inquiry. The only reservation here is practical. So auditor B may have more time than necessary in logistics. So this block looks good, but it should still be challenged for efficiency. Now we complete the afternoon of day 1. So assembly is scheduled as a shared audit stop, and that is a good choice. So assembly is one of those places where process flow, workmanship, controls, and actual practice becomes visible very quickly. It is often worth putting both auditors there because it creates a common operational reference point for the rest of the audit. And after that, the routes split. Okay, so the lead auditor moves to incoming inspection and then to supply chain, and that follows a logical evidence path upstream. So towards supply-related controls, incoming quality, and the way external inputs affect process performance. Auditor B stays closer to the shop floor and goes deeper into machining. That also makes sense because this is where observation, technical detail, and operational reality matter most. So the afternoon is not just full, it is structured. So we are using auditor strengths, following the movement of evidence and avoiding random departmental hopping. Okay, and we finish with a day one status meeting, because day two should begin with shared intelligence, not with two separate audits happening under the same roof. Okay, so yeah, so day one is finished. So let's see day two. We start with the morning of day two. At first glance, it seems organized. So the lead auditor spends the morning in quality, while auditor B covers warehouse, packaging and shipping, and maintenance. So, but this slide is valuable because it exposes a weakness in the schedule. So the problem is not that quality matters. Of course it matters. The problem is that the lead auditor appears to spend too much of the morning in the same area. So after a certain point, the additional value of another block in quality starts to decline. At the same time, maintenance is not a minor support activity. It can be a critical link to equipment reliability, process stability, downtime, delayed orders, repeat defects, and even emergency workarounds on the floor. So this is where schedule design becomes judgment. Okay, a good audit plan does not just avoid gaps, it avoids low value saturation in one place while another place still has the potential to change the audit conclusion. So this is a reminder that audit scheduling is not clerical work. It is evidence strategy. Now, before lunch on day two, I insert here a team meeting. And this is not that time. It's one of the most productive blocks in the whole schedule. So by now, each auditor has collected evidence from different parts of the system. One has been closer to quality, the other has been moving through warehouse, shipping, and maintenance. So if we do not stop and exchange the important information, so the afternoon becomes weaker. Okay, so this short meeting allows the team to compare patterns, confirm links, surface contradictions, and decide where the remaining time will produce the highest value. It also helps protect the closing meeting. So we can ask what conclusions are already well supported, which ones are still fragile. So what must still be tested before we speak with confidence at the end? So good audits are not improved just by adding more interviews. Nope, much more than that. So they improve when the team pauses, connects evidence, and deliberately redirects the next steps. Now, let's go to the afternoon. So the lead auditor goes through production management, engineering, and top management. So that's a strong chain. Okay, it moves from operational control to technical decisions to leadership oversight and system direction. But when we look at auditor B, the plan feels inefficient. Okay, he is placed in human resources for the whole afternoon. That may be possible on paper, but is probably not the best use of audit time. So unless the audit objective has a very strong, competent staffing or labor-related focus, that is likely too much isolated time in one support area. Okay, now let's go to the final slide. So the final slide shows two corrections that improve the schedule. Okay, the first correction is in the morning of day two. So instead of keeping the lead auditor in quality for one more block, we move that time so the lead auditor joins auditor B in maintenance. Why is that better? Okay, because maintenance is not just a technical support function. It's a bridge to process capability, breakdown history, recurring failures, temporary fixes, and the reliability of controls already discussed in machining, inspection, and quality. Now, joining that audit block creates a stronger cross-functional evidence trail. And the second correction is in the afternoon. Okay, Auditor B joins the lead auditor for the top management audit. I think that that's a smart move. So it removes low value excess time in human resources and it brings shop floor evidence directly into the leadership conversation. So senior management should not be audited in abstraction. They should be challenged against what the team actually saw in operations, support processes, interfaces, and results. So the final version, I think it's better, not because it is fuller, but because it is tighter. Okay. So the information flows better, the handoffs make more sense, and the closing meeting is more likely to rest on connected evidence instead of isolated impressions. So this is the schedule for the 2-day audit that we think is most useful for this company right now. Okay,